Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Memes of the Week. The best thing you can do for this channel is smash that like button like it's your Alabama cousin, so it reaches a wider audience. And now on with the memes. Number one, just to show you how crazy the censorship is in the UK, and why the First Amendment in the United States is more important than ever, here we have two jailed teens for 4 years, because they called Prince Harry a race traitor. Their sentence is longer than Pakistani guys get in the UK for raping white girls. As for these two guys, apparently there was more they did, but even still, when you treat migrants better than your own citizens, you know your country is in big trouble. Up next is yet more insanity in the UK, with a shop worker being given 40 sausage rolls to praise his 40 years of service. Whatever happened to giving people gold watches when they work for that long? Besides, he's probably stolen more than 40 sausage rolls from work over the last year alone. The guy behind him, probably one of his managers, knows it's a dud of a deal. The guy in the background might be upset now, but has he checked the price of groceries these days? Number 3, Ray says that the biggest trick the modern world played on women is making them believe working 8 hours a day instead of taking care of their kids is freedom, versus being there for her family equals slavery. But it's not the modern world that did this. It's other women and feminism. The damage is already done now and there's no going back to that old world. We men also became free thanks to feminism, which is an unintended consequence. Thank you, feminism. Moving on, looks like all serial killers wear the same type of glasses. One of these, however, even got away with a presidential pardon. Seems like it's perfectly fine to end people if you're a medical doctor. Also looks to me like the police should be staking out Specsavers to find the next one. 3 of these guys were amateurs that didn't even have their PhDs. The 4th one looks like Matt Gaetz in another 40 years. Number 5, the Toronto Red Star newspaper says there's no arguing the Canadians became wealthier while Trudeau was in power. No, we became 40% poorer compared to Americans, and housing here is 50% more expensive in the United States. This is just communist gaslighting for a socialist newspaper. Justin turned Canada into the Mississippi of Mississippis, with much worse weather. Hey Toronto Red Star, is this what you mean by wealthier? Up next is woman needs to cope harder. She goes out of her way every time she sees a single man in his 30s or 40s that's happy, and goes out of her way to tell him that he's not husband material, and no woman will ever actually want to be with him, because of his rapidly declining marketplace value. But she clearly hasn't seen the boob chart that shows sexual marketplace value between males and females. We're equal around the age of 30, and then we men continue to rise until we're 40, where we peak out. Meanwhile, women peak at 20 and fall from there. She also doesn't understand that MGTOW don't care about SMV. Number 7, the lesbian LA fire chief was roasted for prioritizing DEI instead of actual firefighting. Roasted seems like an appropriate word considering 12,000 structures went up in smoke. They were fighting toxic masculinity, but next time they need to fight the fire. But there won't be a next time, because Pacific Palisades was completely wiped off the map. And it's doubtful it'll ever look the same again, as insurance companies won't insure people in California anymore. Moving on is Canada, an Islamic country because we serve halal chicken at Popeyes, KFC, and Shake Shack. No, we aren't Islamic, but we're getting there. Trudeau destroyed the country and in return, he legalized weed. Maybe this is good enough of a reason to make Canada the 51st state of the United States. Canada looks like it's been invaded and the invaders didn't even have to fire a single shot. And I also didn't know we have Shake Shack. I wish we had White Castle instead. Number 9, Luke says that homeschooling shouldn't be an option. This is proof that they want your kids indoctrinated. But I think it should be mandatory at least until the age of 8 or 9, or until the kid learns critical thinking skills. But that probably won't work for society. They want your kids to be trained into obedient worker bees, or not trained at all with the upcoming age of AI. Kids these days don't even know how to type or read. Proper education dumbs down your kids and destroys their souls. Up next, hey guys, there's a third way. Ernest P. Warren is more masculine than both of these guys combined. Know what I mean, Vern? Maybe it's time to take the Ernest pill. Rest in peace, Jim Varney. Maybe they can make a reboot with John Cena playing good old Ernest. My favorite Ernest film has to be the first one, Ernest Goes to Camp. Once they started throwing real money at the films like Goes to Jail and Saves Christmas, it just didn't have the same campy appeal anymore. Number 11, I know it's way too late with the LA fire memes, but the mayor cut fire department funding while increasing spending for DEI, and she was partying in Africa while LA was burning. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want to see people lose their homes, but part of me wanted to see Hollywood burn to the ground. Her and Gruesome Newsome should resign, but they won't. They're blaming climate change, which is typical because it's just women unable to take accountability for what they've done. Moving on to Stobile, and he says that all men are bisexual, and that if we aren't smashing other guys, then it's a secret desire we have. He sounds like he's in the closet or feels shame for being attracted to men, so he's trying to push the whole being bi narrative as socially acceptable. Either that or he wants to increase his options by posting this because then guys that swing both ways will see it and hit on him. We call this projection. Number 13 is a woman that doesn't understand how money works. She says the solution to poverty is more money. Sure it is. Just ask the people of Zimbabwe or former Yugoslavia in the 90s about hyperinflation. Another country dealing with hyperinflation recently was Argentina. And I'm just going to leave Javier Milei here to explain that if printing money would end poverty, then printing diplomas would end stupidity. Remember, everyone, that Bitcoin fixes this. Up next, here's the stunning and brave leadership team at the Los Angeles Fire Department. And a couple of days after LA was ablaze, they had 0% containment of the Palisades and Eaton fires. It looks like blue states will never learn that woke policies don't work even if their cities burn down. They'll never learn that fire doesn't care about their feelings. And if they thought the exodus from California was bad before, just wait until people that have lost everything decide to get out of there. Number 15, women's expectations are out of this world. This woman is looking for a good black man with a 7-bedroom house, 3 cars, and with no children earning 6 figures. Are there any takers out there ready to spoil her? I also still can't get over the fact there's a toilet sitting out in the open in that bedroom. I'm still trying to figure out which is more disgusting. Her or that porcelain throne in her bedroom. Maybe one of her 6 kids sleeps in the bathroom, so she installed her own toilet in the bedroom. Moving on, a woman is on vacation and her husband is supposed to be watching the kids. She checks the ring light and finds this. Him holding out in the playpen while they have free range of the house. Also, what kind of woman goes on vacation and leaves her 2 toddlers behind? What kind of mother is that? She's trying to make him look bad for doing this and watching soccer. Yet she's the one out for milk in Mexico and won't be back until next week. Number 17, what a way to go. There was a tragic accident in Japan's corn industry where an actress drowns in semen while filming a scene. Her parents must be so proud that she died doing what she loved. This is the kind of This is kind of like voluntary waterboarding. What I want to know is there actually a video? I'm just asking for a friend. I also bet that no one wanted to do CPR on her because it was a bukkake scene, and all the men were firmly heterosexual. I don't think she saw that one coming. Literally. Up next, whenever you see a dating profile like this on Tinder, remember that it's like playing Russian roulette on that platform. And you know it's always the fun and unattractive ones that do this, because they're hoping that some guy feels like playing the odds. But in the end, it's always the one that you don't want it to be. Whenever I hear guys are still dating, I think to myself that they need to stop because it's pointless. Number 19, Madonna is branded the hottest woman alive, as she puts on a tiny top for an intimate photo shoot. Yes, hottest woman that looks like Jigsaw. She also looks unrecognizable now. She used to be hot, but then the aging process happened. Roseanne Barr looks better now. If you went back in time and told someone in the 90s that in 2025 Roseanne would look better than Madonna, they would think you're absolutely crazy. But here we are. Moving on, this woman is happily married to her 5'5" king for 8 years. And she's mocking women that date 6'2" alcoholics, only to then get ghosted by them. This guy probably has money, and I guess that some queens are not looking for a king to serve, but instead to subject to tax, and that looks like him. Looks like he cracked the code. I thought he was packing a Whopper in his trousers, but it looks like he's Asian. Homie here must have a stool in every room. Number 21, being called far right these days is like being called a witch in the Middle Ages. The far right doesn't even exist, but the far left does. And they're just using projection to distract people from their own existence. The truth is that we were taught to fear the witches instead of the ones that burn them, and that's the real problem. People that burned them became bloodthirsty and radicalized and were looking for someone else to blame for all the problems they caused. Up next, when someone asks you why you aren't getting married these days, then just show them a picture of these 3. I love how they shoehorn Skylar into this picture, like she's a real person or something. Also, let's not forget that the dating pool these days looks more like an Indian poop trough. But if someone asks me why I'm not dating, I'd be more likely to share an image like this. At least she doesn't have any face tattoos and a huge nose ring. Number 23, now women are saying that men getting DNA tests to prove their kids are actually theirs is just another way for men to control women's bodies. One woman says she had a kid and found out the father had a DNA test and immediately left the hospital with the child and served him divorce papers. Sure, she did. She just typed this to scare other men into thinking that women will divorce them just for asking for a DNA test. Just shut up, cuck, and pay for Chad's baby. Moving on, after the Hollyweird fires, many Hollywood actors and producers lost their homes. We can also only hope that all the trafficked children made it out of their basements okay. Many of the Hollywood types are probably crying into their cornflakes right now because their child corn burned up in a fire. Imagine the awkward moment when the fire officials find the remains of their kitty dungeon that many of these celebrities have. Number 25, and the last one, looks like The Witcher Part 4 will tackle women's struggle in the medieval world, instead of doing the one thing that most of the male fans want, which is just fight monsters. DEI destroys everything. I guess now they'll be fighting against the patriarchy in The Witcher 4. This is just women destroying the competition for attention so they get more of it instead of men just playing games. So that's it for another Memes of the Week. Please give this video a like to push it up in the algorithm and so new viewers can find it. If you enjoy this series and want me to keep making it, then donate at the PayPal and Subscribe Star links below. Anyways, enjoy the rest of your day, and cheers.